in here. Thank you to the amazing support from the New York State Police, Town of Elba, and Genesee County for their fantastic support and the fire rescue mission of the accident behind me. My name is Aaron McCarter, Air Safety Investigator with the National Transportation Safety Board, based out of Ashburn, Virginia, our Eastern Region Field Office. I arrived on scene this morning along with the FAA and Bell helicopter. Our job is to investigate and determine the probable cause of this tragic accident. So I'm going to be on scene along with the rest of the team about 3 to 5 days. We're going to be documenting the wreckage, trying to remove any kind of volatile, non-volatile data off of the helicopter. And the on-scene portion is a very small part of a much larger holistic process. Most of the work being done by the investigative team happens behind the scenes when the on-scene portion is over. So, in 10 days, I will be completing the preliminary report. In approximately 12 months, the factual report, followed very shortly by the probable cause signed off by the Transportation Safety Board members. Today, what we're looking at the human, the machine, and the environment. Okay? The human being the two pilots who were involved, their training, their qualifications, their experience in the helicopter, their overall experience. The machine are the technical aspects of the helicopter, the engines, the performance, and the environment, of course, is the weather, air traffic control, and how all those three things interacted with each other. There are many more people behind the scenes who are going to be assisting with this investigation, including the structures, human performance, survival factors, flight data recorder specialist, and so forth. So here's what we know. Okay, yesterday, April 26, 2022, at about 11:15 a.m. local time, a Bell 429, registration number November 507 Tango Juliet, that's N507TJ, departed on a training flight from Batavia, New York. The airport identifier is GVQ, Golf Victor, Quebec. On board were two pilots, both highly seasoned professionals. About 1300 or 1 p.m. local time, several credible witnesses observed the helicopter transitioning the area behind me over Elba, New York, at about 2,000 feet. Shortly thereafter, they observed and heard a loud boom and saw the helicopter falling from the sky. Somewhere during this process, and we don't know which occurred first, the tail boom that contains the tail rotor separated from the helicopter and was found 300 feet from the main wreckage. The main wreckage landed next to this road behind me about a half a mile. Okay. There was a very small post-crash fire that was quickly extinguished, and unfortunately both pilots were fatally injured. So our thoughts and our prayers go out to the family and friends of these two pilots. That being said, I will be glad to answer any questions that you all may have.
You spoke about witnesses. We did speak to a witness who said she saw it. She said it sounded like almost a car losing fuel. When it comes to mechanical issues, how do you guys go about determining that?
Well, again, we're going to be the wreckage is going to be transported to Clayton, Delaware, and it's a secured environment. The accident scene is not very conducive, as you know, to conducting a thorough on-scene investigation. The mud is about 6 inches deep. The wreckage is spread out over an area of about 2,000 feet from beginning to end, with the main portion of the wreckage behind me fairly intact, although severely damaged. So that wreckage is going to be transported back to this facility down in Clayton, Delaware, where we will do basically a two-dimensional assembly of it on a hangar floor, and we'll be able to see how the helicopter, it can assist us in determining how the helicopter came apart and what happened first. Okay. Now, that being said, in terms of the way it sounded, I can't attest to what the witnesses said. I can only, write down what they said and try to determine what that sound was by comparing all the witness statements. But we will be doing a thorough engine check. We're going to be checking the rotor blades. We're going to be checking the tail rotor, and we're going to be downloading data. Now, this helicopter doesn't have what's called a black box. You guys are all aware of what a black box is. It's not crash hardened. However, fortunately, the units on board, the data collection unit, we are hoping are intact. So we should be able, with the help of Pratt & Whitney Canada, Bell Manufacturing, and our investigators back at headquarters, in downloading the data, sending it off to be analyzed, and that should help determine, or at least lead us in the right direction of what happened.
You touched on it a little bit, but what role are Bell and the FAA playing in this investigation?
Okay, the FAA is a part of all the investigations. They are always a party to any kind of NTSB field investigation, and we have the local FSDO, the local FSDO office, which the FAA came from in Buffalo. We also have another FAA member who came from the Washington, D.C. area, who was assisting. Bell Helicopters, of course, is the manufacturer. Now, as such, they are acting as technical advisors. They are experts in the helicopter, so I rely on them for their, as well as, because this aircraft was manufactured in Canada. We have to follow the guidelines of ICAO Annex 13. It's basically a multinational investigative effort. The NTSB runs the show here, but Transport Canada provides expertise on the Canadian side of the house, and therefore we have members of Bell Helicopter who are here as well.
When it comes to looking at the pilots, as you said, both seasoned, highly experienced, what kind of things are you going to be looking at as part of your
well, we're going to, even though they are seasoned pilots, how much time they had in this particular helicopter. I mean, you guys, I'm not trying to equate aircraft with cars, but have you guys ever gotten to a car rental that was completely different than yours? It takes you a while to maneuver. So that's what we're looking at. We're looking at familiarity with the machine, how much experience they have in this particular machine, in addition to all the other aircraft that they've flown. Well, training flights can mean any number of things, but this particular training flight, you know what? That would be that would be a guess right now. I don't have the full picture of what kind of training this entailed, so I need to get back to you on that. Well, they're both pilots. We had no idea who was flying the helicopter at the time of the accident. No.
Do you know the last time this helicopter was flown and if there was any issues reported with it?
No, I don't know that yet, but once we go through the maintenance and the flight logs, we'll have a really good idea. And that's going to be happening in the next day or two.
Have you had a chance to examine the flight plan at all?
Again, what was the altitude you think they were at before they started the roll?
NTSB data shows that it was at 2,000 feet, and the witnesses also provided a very good estimate of how far it was off the ground. One more question.
Is it unusual for a helicopter to break apart like that?
It doesn't happen all the time, no. But again, the crash dynamics are very complicated. Aerodynamic forces, things of that nature. So we're going to be looking very closely at, what could possibly happen. The helicopter has a lot of moving parts. Okay. All right, one more question.
How does the helicopter react when it loses its tail rotor?
Well, it loses directional authority. The tail rotor is what keeps the helicopter's nose pointed in the correct direction, because, of course, the torque, when the rotor blades are spinning around, the helicopter fuselage wants to spin in the opposite direction, if you remember your high school physics. So the tail rotor actually keeps the helicopter's nose pointed in a specific direction, and you use the rudder pedals to point the nose in a specific direction depending on where you want to go. Okay? Thank you very much.